And then what do we hope to find out? So we did a lot of good anticipating.
Well, we're hoping, at least I'm hoping that the kids can distinguish when to set it equal to 180 and then when to add them and set them equal to the perimeter. Like, do they know the difference? Are we talking about the angles or are we talking about the sides? And how the sides don't equal 180?
Yeah, going along with it, I just want them to realize too, with their conversations also, is the difference between sides and angles. Like, because they just kind of lump them all together because you use the sides to give you information about the angles and vice versa.
And like sometimes like we'll give them X as a side and they'll give you the answer 22 degrees. And you're like, this isn't an angle, this is a side. But in the other one you said it was 22 degrees, so that they know the difference.
Just kind of going between the two modes and the relationships there.
I think we still want to observe how the students start the activity, what Dorothy said, right? Do they start with the end and work backwards? Do they start at the beginning? You know, how are they attacking the problem? We definitely want to listen to what kids are saying to each other, okay? And I think in part of the pre-lesson we need to encourage that the kids are listening to what each other's saying and maybe building off of what each other says. So if one kid in the math talk says, well, I know angle W and angle X add up to 180. You have another kid say, well, can anybody build off of that? Oh, that means they're supplementary. Or, you know what I'm saying, like build off what the other kids say. Anything else that we're going to, and we can add to this when we get into the lesson planning, we can always add things we want to observe. But can anybody think of anything else right now?
I think one thing that you mentioned a few times is just listening for the language of the relationship between sides and angles.
Oh.
That was like a big focus. So how are students describing the relationship between sides and angles, and what are they saying about them? Are they identifying that they have different relationships?
I also think, that what are they going to do when they get stuck? You know, are they going to immediately call the teacher over? Are they going to try and talk it out amongst themselves? Are they going to turn around to another group? Like, what are they going to do?
We're adding perseverance in here.
Yeah.
So what do they do to persevere?
Yeah.
We know our stage when Okay, key learnings in the process, observing structure and not being hesitant to try. It's kind of what Teresa just said. How kids react to the less is more approach. And I always like to leave that in there to remind us that we're observing and we're not helping, and that the teacher is the facilitator in the lesson, not the one doing the problems for the kids. And that's why I want to shy away from doing the example first, okay, because that tends to be leading, and like Dorothy said, they want to do every single problem the same way, okay? Not giving yes or no answers. When a kid asks, am I right? Can you check this?
Yeah.
Okay. How do kids justify their decisions? How do kids justify their decisions to each other? You know, not to you, but and I think we can add on here too. How do kids explain themselves verbally and in writing?
And with each other.
Yeah, it's already on there. Each other, Dora.
Where?
Right there.
Oh, I see. Sorry.
Okay, when do we want to do it? Do we want to do morning or do we want to do afternoon? And do we want to do the lesson once or do we want to do it twice? And I'm going to caution you about twice, because it's a lot of observing, and and then it's a lot to talk about afterwards. So, but
We basically have geometry
Almost
every
every
period.
period.
We figured out every period except for a period there's a geometry class.
Okay,
So really anything.
afternoon works for me.
Is that better for everyone in the afternoon?
Okay,
8
so,
till 7.
okay, well, if you want, we could, who's got 6th period geometry? Dorothy? We could do it in Dorothy's 6th period geometry class if you want, and then we could do the pre-meeting 5th. So that way everybody gets their 4th period plan. We could do the pre-meeting 5th, okay, and we could observe 6th and do the post 7th and 8th. Is that okay, Dorothy?
Yeah, that's fine.